One-hit wonders of 1976. Do you remember when this song changed the 70s forever? Or when that other one unexpectedly climbed to the top? Back in that distant and beautiful year of 1976, there were artists who reached the summit, but only for a fleeting moment. Unknown voices that lit up a summer afternoon. Melodies that became part of our history, yet their creators never managed to repeat the feat. Today, we're traveling back to that unique year when a handful of songs flashed across the sky like shooting stars. Turn the Beat Around, Vicki Sue Robinson. In 1976, every disco was its own universe, and in all of them, a new sound was being born that asked no one's permission. Turn the beat around. Vicki Sue Robinson's voice was the star. She didn't just sing, she roared with joy, as if celebrating that, at last, the rhythm had a woman's face and name. It was an era when everything was speeding up. After years of turmoil, people just wanted to dance until they lost track of time, and that's exactly what happened every time that song came on. The funny thing is, Vicki wasn't born a star. She came from singing in choruses and small roles, but she carried the stubborn conviction of someone who loves the stage even when there's no audience. Her huge hit was also her only real shot. After Turn the Beat Around, her name faded from the radar and at the same time became immortal. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, what's your name and how old are you? Let's keep going. Afternoon Delight, Starland Vocal Band. If you close your eyes, you can still hear that little portable radio on the dining room table. It was just another midday in 1976 when this gentle melody suddenly filled the house. Its name was Afternoon Delight, and it offered a blend of harmonies so sweet they sounded like they came straight off some country porch. We know the night is always gonna be here anyway. The public welcomed it with giggles and knowing winks. Starland Vocal Band were four friends with flawless voices who believed in the purity of song. Yet, behind all that sweetness hid a touch of mischief. That Afternoon Delight had a second, much naughtier, very adult, meaning that we all figured out later. It was their one great triumph, but during that summer they won awards, toured, and received massive love. It was so light and catchy that when the wave passed, the song just kept floating, now forever a legend. Drop a like if you think old songs are better than today's. Play That Funky Music, Wild Cherry. Funk was born in African American neighborhoods, pure energy, sweat, groove. But nobody was ready for a bunch of white guys from Ohio to jump into that territory with a song that starts as a joke and ends up one of the genre's ultimate anthems. Play That Funky Music. The story behind it is beautiful. Wild Cherry used to play classic rock in small bars, and one night someone in the crowd yelled, "Play some funky music, white boys." Instead of getting mad, they turned it into an anthem. The result? Funny lyrics, an infectious bass line, and a phrase that got etched in stone forever. When the song hit number one, it became a symbol of something deeper. The walls between genres were starting to crumble. The time had come when everyone, no matter where they came from, could dance to the same beat. Years later, the band tried to repeat the magic, but the spark was gone. They didn't need anything more. They had already left their mark on every dance floor. Proof that music can overcome any prejudice. Moonlight Feels Right, Starbuck. While the world chased the disco beat, a band from Atlanta bet on something completely different. Moonlight Feels Right was a nighttime stroll along the seashore with a marimba that sounded like moonlight reflected on water. Starbuck had recorded the song the year before, but no radio station would touch it until one stubborn DJ on the East Coast believed in them so much that he played it. Soon the melody spread across the country like a summer breeze. The song wasn't about war or politics, and it wasn't made for dancing. It simply captured that tiny moment when night and desire meet. Sophisticated yet simple, many people linked it to young love and eternal promises that lasted exactly one season. They never had another hit, but those notes still float in the air like the very first day. Even now, hearing it makes time slow down. Right back where we started from, Maxine Nightingale. You hear those opening chords, and you can't help but feel redemption. Right Back Where We Started From has the kind of energy that pushes you to try again, even when you're flat on the floor. And the coolest part? It didn't come from a superstar, it came from a British nurse with a dazzling voice. Maxine Nightingale walked into the studio not knowing that this confession of resilience would make her immortal. What came out was a mix of soul, pop, and contagious optimism. The lyrics were a caress. Go back to the beginning, back to what feels right. In a world obsessed with the new, she chose to remind us of the power of returning. When it first hit the radio, many thought it was an old classic being re-released, maybe because it carried the scent of songs that feel like they've always existed. She recorded more afterward, but nothing reached these heights. Still, she left us with the memory that joy can have real depth. Welcome back, John Sebastian.
Big time. Welcome back. Your dream.
Those were the years when TV shows also created timeless musical moments. If you don't believe us, just listen again to Welcome Back. It was written for the sitcom Welcome Back, Cotter, the story of a teacher returning to the neighborhood where he grew up, but it quickly outgrew the screen.
On the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back.
John Sebastian, formerly of the Lovin' Spoonful, found in this simple melody a kind of personal farewell, a symbolic return to his roots, to simplicity, to old friends.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Every week, millions heard it before the show started, and many got emotional. There was something deeply personal in that gentle voice that looked back with love. It was his last major hit, and that's exactly why it deserves to be remembered forever. What's your favorite song from 1976? Drop it in the comments so we can all listen. A Fifth of Beethoven, Walter Murphy. A young pianist, in a burst of humor, decided to turn Beethoven's Fifth Symphony into a disco beat, never imagining it would go down in history as a global smash. The purists were horrified. How dare anyone reinterpret Beethoven like that? But Murphy proved the German genius could dance on an electric bass line. Suddenly, the classical was modern, and we loved it. Murphy never repeated that phenomenon, though he kept composing for film and TV. Yet that experiment changed something bigger. It put orchestras back on the map, and many dared to make symphonic music because they knew the audience was ready. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs are born from a joke, and A Fifth of Beethoven proved it better than any music theory class. Let Your Love Flow, the Bellamy Brothers. Before country pop even had a name, the Bellamy Brothers accidentally invented it. If you love the genre, you know Let Your Love Flow was a simple song, yet the cornerstone of something much bigger. Other artists had rejected it, thinking it wasn't ambitious enough. The brothers took it, recorded it with joy, and unknowingly captured the spirit of 1976, hope and tenderness. The lyrics invited you to let the good stuff out, to stop holding back feelings. And that connected with everyone. For weeks it topped charts and played on rural stations, urban stations, weddings, barbecues. Later, they devoted themselves to traditional country, and this song remained their eternal postcard. Even today, it moves people with its sweet honesty. Love Roller Coaster, Ohio Players. The Ohio Players were already known for powerful, sensual funk, but with Love Roller Coaster, they reached their absolute peak, literally and figuratively. The song was pure adrenaline, a ride of ups and downs with instrumentation that shook your soul. Controversy wasn't far behind. That mysterious scream halfway through supposedly a woman being hurt only added to the legend. Myth or not, it was a portrait of its time. Explosive energy, overflowing vitality. In every live show, it became a ritual. People surrendered to the rhythm. Arms up, sweat catching the lights. The band had other funk hits, but this was the emotional summit, the top of their roller coaster. Then disco swallowed everything in its path, and they remained pioneers of the fever. Fooled around and fell in love. Elvin Bishop. The best songs can tell truths we've all lived and turn them into art. Maybe that's why so many of us saw ourselves in Fooled Around and Fell in Love, the confession of a guy who played it cool until love flipped the table on him. Elvin Bishop wrote it almost as a casual comment on his own life. But he decided not to sing it himself. He felt his voice couldn't do that kind of vulnerability justice. So a young bandmate, Mickey Thomas, stepped up to the mic. And the miracle happened. That clear voice turned a personal story into a universal classic. Fate was funny, Bishop went back to the blues, Thomas flew off to other bands and bigger hits, and this song stayed suspended in time. Every time it plays, it grabs you by the chest and takes you straight back to the exact moment you had to admit you were in love. Dreamweaver, Gary Wright. Dreamweaver always felt like it didn't completely belong to this world, like someone put a microphone in front of a dream and let it sing. From the first chords, the synthesizer doesn't sound like an instrument. It breathes, it floats, it wraps around you. Then, Gary Wright's voice comes in soft, almost a whisper, guiding an inner journey that feels endless. Wright was in a very particular personal moment, reading Eastern spirituality texts, searching for calm, searching for meaning. From that search came the idea of a dream weaver, a companion who lights the way when the mind is too tired to understand everything. That's why the song vibrates differently. It has that rare mix of technology and introspection. The public adopted it like a refuge. It became an anthem for endless highways, for people driving with no rush, for couples quietly watching the windshield while the world rolled by outside. Wright never reached that height again, though he kept composing for decades, and Dreamweaver stayed alone, like a star that doesn't need company. Shannon Henry Gross. While some preferred introspective journeys, others simply let Henry Gross move them to tears. Shannon has the delicacy of songs that feel written with trembling hands, every note a memory, every word chosen with extreme care. We didn't know it back then, but Henry wrote it as a loving tribute to his friend Carl Wilson's Of the Beach Boys dog, who had died in a boating accident. It was an intimate homage, the kind you imagine written on a silent afternoon with no pretensions of greatness. Countless listeners swore it was about a human tragedy, a lost love, or a final absence, which only proved that emotion doesn't distinguish species. The pain of losing someone who was family felt exactly the same. Gross kept writing and performing, but sadly never touched that same pure, transparent nerve again. Yet the song endured. It became a hidden gem. One of those melodies that makes everyone lower their voice when it comes on, like no one wants to interrupt something sacred. Magnet and Steel, Walter Egan. Sometimes love feels like being on a giant carnival ride. Fun, thrilling, full of adrenaline. That's what Walter Egan wanted to capture with Magnet and Steel, a frantic love anthem. Egan wrote it inspired by the hypnotic presence of Stevie Nicks, on whom he had a secret crush.
My secrets to reveal.
In fact, Nicks herself sang backing vocals along with Lindsey Buckingham, and the result had that perfect mix of desire and distance. The polished production gave it a floating, dreamlike aura. When it came out, countless guys recognized themselves in it, the struggle between wanting and holding back, between passion and the fear of losing yourself. It was his only hit, but the story says everything. A memory turned into melody. Every time it plays, it's like you can suddenly smell the perfume of someone you still remember too well. You Sexy Thing, Hot Chocolate.
I believe in miracles. Where from?
In a landscape ruled by disco glitter, You Sexy Thing arrived with humor, elegance, and confidence, offering something different within the genre. Hot Chocolate achieved what few could, a sensual song without vulgarity that charmed every audience. The chorus was both a question and a statement, a mix of faith and desire. The groove wrapped around you, the voices soared with contagious optimism that made anyone feel good.
You sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles.
Funny thing, the song was originally planned as a B-side, never meant to be a big deal, but the public decided otherwise and turned it into a universal celebration. Even people who couldn't dance moved to it with a smile.
You sexy thing.
That blend of grace and self-confidence has kept it alive for decades. Hot Chocolate had other works, but none as incredible as this one. More. Andrea True Connection. We end this journey with a truly unconventional artist. Andrea True was an actress, a traveler, but above all, a survivor. After shooting a film in Jamaica, political unrest meant she couldn't get her money out of the country. Someone suggested she record a song there to use the cash, and that's how More was born. It sounds like a movie script, but it really happened. With few resources and a lot of guts, she recorded a track that breathed desire and tropical glamour. When it was released in the US, it became an instant fury. It was the pure sound of the era, provocative, dazzling, steeped in lust and freedom. Andrea, however, couldn't sustain the fame. Years of silence followed. But More remained like a capsule of light, 3 words that captured the entire spirit of 1976. And that brings us to the end of this ride. We'll leave a video here with another list of classic songs if you want to keep reliving the nostalgia of bygone eras. See you next time.